Welcome back. In the previous video, after creating the multi-dimensional arrays, and today we're going to look at something interesting. Today we're going to look at arrays and objects, how to deal with arrays and objects. So I can first remove this. I can also leave out that. Remove this. So I can create my class student. Let me say I want to create an array of students. So a student can have attributes. Remember, just a class simply helps us to create objects. So inside here, I'll say my student is going to have a string representing name. It's going to have a name. It's going to have int, which is age, and it's going to have int representing student can have an ID. So this is the simple things that a student can have. A student can have a name, age, and an ID. So I want to create. This has to be capital S, not small. So I want to create an array of students. Yeah, remember an array is simply collection of many things. So I can come here down. Can also remove this. So I can come say int students. Remember, students is going to be an array which is equal to new int. Let me say I'm going to create 5 students, or let me say I'm going to create 3 students. So after creating this array here, I have given it 3 students. So I can come here, call my object. Here up, can call my object. You can say student type is equal to student1. This is the first object I'm going to create. After creating the object, then I push it into my array. So in this case, this would be my instance. Remember, if I want to access the class, the attributes in the class, I first create the instance because this is outside our public. So each and every time you create something outside or in a file here, have to create instances of these classes to use them. So these instances are normally called objects. So I will say student. I'll call the student call the student class. Then this is our first instance. So I'm going to push my first student into my array. So I will say in the student, I use the student1 dot name is equal to let me first give this student a name. Let me say John. Here I'm creating the student plus student1 dot age is equal to let me say 18. Student 1. Why am I using student 1? Because this is the first object that I'm creating. It is for student 1. After creating the instance for this student, now I'm trying to assign attributes basing on this class here. That's why I'm saying student 1, and I'm able to access these attributes, the structure of my student. So student has ID, which is, let me say, 1. So I have successfully created my object. So I can come here, say student 2. Now here I'm creating the second object for my student. So each and every time that you create, each and every time that you want to create an object, you have to create a new instance of that object. Hopefully I'm clear. So I'll say new student is equal to minus this. So student, this time is student 2. Student 2 dot name is equal to, let me say Jen student 2 dot age is equal to 20. Student 2 dot id is equal to same is 2. So like that, you can continue creating the more objects. So I can copy this instead, put it here. for my third student, remember our array is having 3, so I'll say student 3. In this case, I'll use this. Then this has to be in this case age, let me say 14, ID 3. So these are so far my objects that I've created, but I haven't used them in my in my array. So how do you do this? So I'll come here, create student, access our array. Remember our array of students, this has to be students, not student. Remember on arrays we can access positions. In this case we have said our array is going to have 3 things. So on position 1, which is represented by 0, remember begin counting from 0 going up, meaning 0 will represent our first position, which is equal to the first position. I'm going to put our student 1 that we created, our object that we created, then close. But they are saying type mismatch cannot convert student to integer. So we are saying in this case, you see this line, we are saying that int students are new int integers. We are giving the student type of integer. Yet we are saying that in this case we are assigning the student an object which is having strings and integers, meaning other data types. So what would be the case? So in this case, remember that we created our class in this case. So I can use this class and assign it the type, meaning this will define anything that is going to sit into my array. So I'll use the student class. I'll reference the student class to be my data type. So in this case, same thing, student, like this. So you can see that everything is okay. Our student is going to have name, age, ID, and that's the same thing that we are doing here. Instead of being specific on integers, we are going to use the student object as our data type in this case. You can see down here everything is working as intended. So I'll come here, say students at position 2, which is represented by 1. I'm going to insert student 2, like that. Students at position 2, I'm going to insert student at position at I'm going to insert our third student, sorry. So I have successfully utilized my array, and I have created my objects inside, and I have managed to assign my objects to my array. So what if I want to see this there? Shall use our for loop to see our students. I'll use my for loop. In the next video, we are going to look at the enhanced for loop. In other programming languages is the for each and the maps, but in this case we have the enhanced for loop. But Java later released the for loop. Released the for each. So we shall see that also. But in this case, let us continue using our for loop. So I'll say I equal to start at 0, then I should be less than the students array dot length. So shall continue incrementing. So what will this for loop? It will go in the students array. This is our condition. It will look at the positions that we are having. In this case, it will be 3. So it will loop and it won't go beyond 3. So it will begin from 0, but each and every time that a number runs, this increment is going to be incrementing this, but it shouldn't go beyond this. That's why we have the initialization, the condition, and the increment. That's the for loop. Dot out, print a new line. In this case, I'm printing out students, which is an array that will pass then the I, meaning each and every time that is looping through the numbers, we are going to assign the students the I variable. So I'll say student, but I have to print out the name. Then another one, I'll print out students, which is still an array, dot I'll print out our age, and finally our set students, which is an index. I'll print out our IDs. So that's how we can do this, but I can give here some spaces. Yeah, I can give here some spaces. Plus here, I can give some spaces in between here so that it is not cluttered around. So let me try to compile this and we see. Yeah, then run and compile. So that's how you can see that we are getting student 1, John, Jen, and keys, and we are having his name, age, and our ID. Using our for loop, we are able to access our objects, these ones, the ones that we created, and assign to our arrays using our for loop. So that's simply how you can use, or that's how you can create objects inside arrays. So in the next video, we are going to look at the enhanced for loop. Thank you.